Here There Be Dragons.
Where?
Right behind you.
Oh!
So did you know, I was just mentioning to Ralph that the old thought that a lot of ancient world maps have little areas on it where it says, here there be dragons. That's actually a fallacy that apparently it was started by Tolkien.
Oh.
When he did Lord of the Rings with his little maps in there,
That's really, I loved his maps.
Yeah, they were really cool, actually. But anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the possibility that dragons exist.
One right there.
Yep, right there. And so coming up on Black Lotus. Conspiracy theories, the paranormal, UFOs, aliens, and all things strange and unusual. This is Black Lotus. So yeah, I think the best place to start with this is going to be about the legends of dragons. And
I watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, but the legends of dragons and certainly the sightings have been told and reported throughout the world. And they're found, the legends of dragons are found in almost every single culture in the world.
Isn't that amazing?
And that is truly amazing. I mean, considering how far apart and remote some of these cultures are. So it kind of lends credence to the idea that they could be leftover dinosaurs, like pterodactyls. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's really not clear where the first legends emerged.
No, they have no idea. No. They just know it's in every culture and as far back as we know.
Yeah. Okay. That in itself seems kind of weird.
Even the Bible.
Yep, even the Bible. But there are legends dating back to even like ancient Greece and ancient Sumeria, where they've written about these things, and and for much of history, dragons were described as just kind of like any other exotic creature, that sometimes they were good and benevolent and other times they were vicious and harmful, dangerous, But that all changed when Christianity started to spread its wings across the world, And what they did is they kind of turned the whole idea of the serpent and the dragon into their image of Satan.
Right.
I think the best example of that would be in the story of St. George, the Dragon Slayer. And if you don't know the story, basically what it comes down to is that, St. George is stumbling along and he happens upon this village of pagans, and evidently they have a dragon problem.
Yeah, it was eating all their sheep.
Yeah.
And when all the sheep were done, they started having a lottery to put the children up to sacrifice to the dragon. I was like, what? I had never read this before. So when we researched this today and I came across this, I didn't know the story. I was like, very shocked.
Yeah. And the dragon apparently took a young maiden,
the king's
hostage.
daughter.
Yeah. And so what St. George does is he goes over there. He says, no worries, I can take care of this with the blessing of God. And so what he does is he saves the maiden by armoring himself with nothing more than the sign of the cross, and then he turns around and slays the dragon. And next thing you know, all these pagan villagers are immediately converting to Christianity.
Right. Well, he told them, if I'll kill the dragon, but if you do, you guys got to convert. Yeah. So I guess the dragon was worth it.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of the legend of St. Patrick, actually. It's the same kind of thing where, I'll do this for you, quid pro quo.
It seems like there's a lot of that in, especially the Catholic religion. Mm-hmm. It's like, you better do this, so I'll do that.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. So you said that you found other examples in the Bible.
Well, yeah. I mean, in Ezekiel, the Pharaoh of Egypt is described as a dragon. And then there's the story of Daniel where he comes across a dragon that's being worshipped by the Babylonians.
Let's back up here just a second. On about the Pharaoh of Egypt. I think that's a good example. He's being described as a dragon, probably by way of his personality. But again, it's demonizing the dragon.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Daniel ends up it's a famous story where he makes the cakes of fat and sticks and stuff and feeds the dragon and kills the dragon by feeding him, basically poisoning him and scraping up his insides. Makes him burst open. So there's also one in Revelation. There's mentions in the New Testament. And of course there's the great red dragon with the 7 heads, the 7 crowns, and the massive tail. And of course, we also talked about this right before the show, is the Leviathan, which nobody really knows what it is, but a lot of people believe that's also a dragon or a sea serpent or that type of thing.
Yeah, and they also think it could be a whale. So I mean, really, who knows?
But it's just amazing that, like we were talking about, the dragon has been around forever. They even found now if I got to pronounce this right again, Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
Thank you. Found on King Tut's tomb.
Yeah, you had mentioned that, and I thought that the Ouroboros was primarily a Norse kind of figure, but you said that apparently it's all over the world.
It's in a lot of different cultures, and it doesn't always mean the circle of life. Sometimes it means the end. Sometimes it means infinity. Sometimes it's dangerous. Sometimes it's good. So I find that interesting too. Like you said, the Christians made the dragons evil now in the Bible, but you go to China and it's worshipped as a god and good luck, and it's a good thing.
When I worked at that place in Minnesota, Canterbury Park, we would celebrate Chinese New Year every year. So that's actually where I learned about the Chinese dragons and how they are all about good luck.
Right.
Pretty much, good fortune, So yeah, anyway. You told me that you found some cases where famous people had reported sightings.
Well, famous people from way back when.
Right. Not current celebrities.
Yeah, not celebrities. I know. Usually, I'm the one because you even thought said. I usually when I say famous people, I mean celebrities. And I actually did kind of look into that, and there wasn't many actual celebrities that have seen dragons. I'm surprised Dan Aykroyd hasn't. He seems to be in everything we talk about. But yeah, Alexander the Great back in 330 BC, so that's a little while ago, I think, invaded India, and he came back with reports of a giant hissing dragon that was living in a cave and being worshipped as a god. So that's a famous person that's,
Now, where was he? India?
In India, right. Okay. That's a famous person that we all know of.
Sure.
Who is now basically in history said, yes, there's dragons.
Yeah.
And then Marco Polo went exploring, and he did the book of The Travels of Marco Polo. And in chapter 49, he talks about dragons also. And the way he talks about it is just like we're talking right now, just nonchalant, like no big deal. Let's say, yeah, there's a dragon outside. Right. It'll go away after a while. Right. And to me, I find that more fascinating than just about anything. Even the fact that the cultures all over the world have it, that there's people in history that have seen dragons and have put down notes in history on it.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that could be actually attributed to mistaking it for another creature. Like, for instance, the Komodo dragon. But see, legends of the Komodo dragon were around for eons, but they didn't actually discover one. Well, I mean, tribal villagers knew they were there, but scientists never really discovered it until like 1901.
Right.
But then again, it makes me wonder, like instances with Alexander the Great and Marco Polo, if they could have seen something and then just attributed it to that, for instance, a lot of sailors, attributed sea serpents, and what they really were like whales. Like sperm whales and stuff like that, blue whales.
The long, thin ones.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. But speaking of that, belief in dragons wasn't based just on legends. It was also based on the fact that, based on ignorance.
Well, yeah.
Because, for a millennia, people found bones that were occasionally unearthed. They
had no idea what it was.
They had no idea what it was. So the logical choice for them would be to attribute it to a dragon, but because they knew nothing of dinosaurs.
Well, this is a time of where the weather was because God was mad or happy.
Right.
So yeah, they didn't know about science that much, and they didn't know about dinosaurs in the past. So seeing a dinosaur bone, they had to attribute it to something.
You mentioned the thing about the weather and how God's pissed off because and how often do you still see that today with some preacher saying that the reason that a hurricane happened, all this death and destruction happened, was because God's pissed off because of homosexuality,
right,
or something like that. Right. It amazes me how backwoods we still are in so many ways. But yeah, anyway.
That's a whole nother show. And there were a lot of large fossils, especially in China and stuff like that, where dragons are probably one of the bigger cultures, or one of the cultures with that's bigger with dragons involved in them.
Right. Right.
You know, we really in the States and stuff, we don't. Dragons are more of a almost myth in the Bible. Even we look at it, we don't see, oh yeah, there was a real dragons. It's a metaphor.
A metaphor more than anything else. Yeah. I mean, like I was mentioning about, you had mentioned about the Pharaoh and how he's described as a dragon. Well, it's a
Exactly.
metaphor for his personality. He wasn't very well liked.
Right. There was an anthropologist named David E. Jones, and I kind of thought this was interesting because what he suggests is that when we have the human nature to fear snakes and fear certain things, our instincts, and he thinks that our fear of snakes is what developed into a fear of dragons or the dragon mythological beings.
Yeah. I can easily see how that would be. I mean, we have an intrinsic fear of snakes. But I wonder how ingrained this fear actually is. I once watched this video as a psychological video on the psychology of fear, and they had a piece of glass in between a cobra and a baby. And the baby was looking at the cobra like, oh, it's nothing, no big deal, whatever. And, and the cobra was up and like in striking pose. And the baby was like, whatever. I mean, the baby wasn't in danger because it was glass there.
Right.
But then they did the same thing with a 5-year-old. And the 5-year-old freaked out. So I wonder how ingrained that fear is in us. I mean,
I don't know. I don't have a fear of snakes personally. I mean, I own 2 of them. One of them was a over 6 foot red tail boa, and I mean, it was huge.
well,
I walk around with it all the time on me.
My wife terrified of snakes. Snakes don't bother me. In fact, I think they're quite beautiful actually. But you need to treat them with respect. I mean, if I saw a rattlesnake outside, and here in Vegas it's not too uncommon.
Right.
I would give it a wide berth.
Right, of course.
You do what you want to do in your little world, and I'm going to go ahead with my little world.
And I had this snake for quite a while, a couple of years or so. And one of the things I heard all the time was that if you owned a snake, you've been bit by a snake. I have never been bit by a snake.
I owned a snake. I never
Yeah,
bit.
but I've heard that a lot of times that people who own snakes, they
But
usually end up getting bit.
Again, it's one of those things where you have to respect it.
You have to respect it. I knew like I said, we had 2 snakes. One of them used to like to sit in my hand, and we'd go for rides in the car, and it'd like to put his head out the window or curl up in my lap. The other one was big, and it'd like to hang over your neck and wrap around your shoulders and stuff. But you could tell when it started getting agitated or it just wanted to go back, so I'd go open the cage and let it go back in. Mm-hmm. If it didn't want to go back in, then it would stay. If it wanted to go back in, I'd let it go back in.
Yeah. I've only had one snake, but it was a smaller snake. It was called a Pacific Island boa, and I think it got to a total of maybe 14 inches long or something like that. Even kind of small, But she was cute. I loved her actually. She was a lot of fun until one day a mouse bit her in half.
Oh,
God, I was pissed off about that.
I didn't have to worry about that. This snake was too big for that one.
Yeah.
But I wish I had a dragon.
So that actually brings us to the next segment here. We're going to show you some video clips here. And but before we do, I want the viewers to kind of keep an open mind about this stuff. Because I will say that the first 2 clips here are pretty compelling insofar as it's not known what these things are. Now, the other video clips, they could be edited, they could not be edited. I'll leave it up to your discretion, but they're kind of compelling, but yeah, I can see how they would have been edited. But the first 2, kind of unexplained.
Right.
So anyway, let's take a look at this really quick. This first video we're going to show you happened in a cave in China. A guy went to China and he felt something. He was spelunking in a cave. And as he was going through the cave, he felt something and he noticed something moving around in the water down by his feet. So he takes his video phone, his phone, and he starts to take a video of it. And so anyway, let's take a look at this right now.
Yeah, I thought this was very interesting. It almost looks like a salamander, but
it does look like a salamander, and that's what I was thinking too.
Salamanders don't have legs like that.
They don't, but I mean, they're not usually albino either. And this looks like it's an albino. It looks like a cave-dwelling salamander.
And the fact that it has legs at the end of its body too it's the typical dragon.
Right, and a salamander's legs would be further up on its body, closer to its forearms.
Yeah, you'll see its tail ones here. You're seeing them reaching up there to the rocks.
Right.
That's what really was like. Wait, that's kind of strange.
This is the Monterey dragon, and this is the other one where I just can't explain it. And this creature was found in the wilderness of Monterey, Mexico, and it was small enough to be held. But it doesn't seem to be aggressive. It just, you see that there, he has this wide gaping mouth and it keeps opening up to that. But it doesn't, but apparently it's not aggressive and nobody knows what happened to this damn thing.
It disappeared. They put it into a cage to hold it while the authorities came, and then it just disappeared. And I saw other video of it that's not being shown here, and it's very, very compelling. One person says, though, that it's I can't remember what they call it. A fat mouth owl, basically.
An owl, is
yes.
that right? Huh. Yeah.
So
I don't know. I've never seen anything like this before, and it is a little hard to make out what it is, the structure of it here in this video. But yeah.
A nightjar frogmouth owl.
Oh, okay. So anyway, the Dallas Dragon, this was taken in Dallas, Texas, but they don't know much about the cameraman, and they don't know much about where it was taken. But apparently here you see it's perched on top of what appears to be like a radio tower. But this is one of those ones where I think you can easily see how it could have been edited.
Yeah, this one almost looks CGI, but my thought is if this was real, how many people would have seen this thing? It's enormous, sitting on top of the tower.
And as you see, he backs off with the camera there, and you can see that there is like traffic right there. Right. So I think it's interesting that nobody else saw this.
Yeah, this one was kind of to me when I looked at it. I think it's way too easy to this one, especially since how dark it is, and it keeps going in and out of focus and everything. It'd be too easy to fake.
Yeah. Now, the back dragon, I think this is the least plausible one. And the reason being is because if you look at the structure of the wing, that's why they call it the bat dragon, because it's very skeletal. But if you look, the wings never come up to full flap above its spine in order to grab air.
Right.
It just, to me, it almost looks like a kite. It almost
seems like it's going more in front of itself than it actually in some shots.
Yeah.
The only thing that impressed me was this part where it goes behind the wires.
Well, that's why I'm saying I'm wondering if it could possibly just be an elaborate kite.
Some people have said that, but I don't know. It's either CGI or some type of prop.
Yeah, I don't know that I could call that CGI. I mean, it could possibly, but yeah, I don't know. But then Pito's Dragon, and this was named after the guy who apparently uploaded it to YouTube. His name is Pito. But there is no known origin for this thing, so they don't know. But evidently, this was also taken somewhere in the United States. But this is another one. Now, this one is a little more compelling because at least this one's wings grab a little air. You see how it goes up above the body?
It almost gets a parachute shape to it too, where like it's actually caught some air.
Yeah,
definitely.
But this is, I think, of all the videos out there that are like this, where they're showing this winged monster, this one's a little more compelling than the other ones that I found.
What I found compelling about this one too is the way it disappears into the clouds and the way it comes from behind the trees and stuff. Because it was so stormy out, it'd be very hard to fake this and give that same look to it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of videos out there you can find on YouTube and wherever else, but I think the ones that are most compelling are the one that we were saying looked like a salamander.
Right.
It kind of looked like a salamander, but then again, not. But I mean, there are a lot of different salamanders. In fact, that took place in China. I was reading about this ancient salamander that they have there. And I mean, they have these salamanders grow up to 7-8 feet long. They're huge. So yeah, so I can easily see how something like that could be mistaken for a dragon. And then the other one, what was it called? In Mexico, the Monterey Dragon.
Monterey Dragon.
Yeah. Who knows what that thing was?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. And
if they like they said it's an. I heard that someone said it was an owl, the nightjar owl. The only way I could see that is maybe if it was covered in muck, like tar or something like that. But I think they would have noticed that. And this was not just a quick little, oh, look, we found a dragon and it disappeared. Yeah, it did disappear. But I mean, there were several news places covering this. This was a big thing. It was, I think, in 2010. Wow. And it went viral all over the place. It wasn't just them. It was people all over the world were coming and showing these videos of this.
Wow, really?
So, yeah, that kind of made it a little more intriguing to me, too.
But, again, I mean, why is it that every time people find something mysterious, it immediately disappears through some agent or another, whether it be at the hands of the government or whatever, But they always disappear, and we're left with all kinds of questions.
Wild food and game.
Yeah, right.
Wild game wardens and stuff.
We were talking about China. Tell me about the white dragon. You found something about the white dragon.
Yeah, this is another thing. People, again, research. There's one that's gone viral, and I've seen it actually pop up in here and there again. I think it was 2016 it happened, where there was a picture of supposedly a farmer had been out in the field and shot a white dragon. And it's like, what's the name of the dragon in Neverending Story? I can't remember his name. But it's like that dragon. It looks just really long and furry and has kind of like the salamander, but with fur.
Okay.
And, excuse me.
Now, how large is this thing?
Oh, it looks like it's probably about 12, 13 feet long. At least.
Really?
It takes up a large section of floor.
Oh, okay.
And there was pictures, and he had promised video of it coming up when they examined it and stuff, but he wanted to get the pictures out immediately. And sure enough, a little while later, he releases a video of them going around it and showing it. And unfortunately, they accidentally left pictures of how it was sculpted and how the fur was attached and how they made the thing. Brilliantly done. Looks really, really good, but it was a fake. And to this day, you still see this pop up about this dragon that they found, even though everybody knows it's fake.
Yeah.
So a couple clicks of the keys a lot of times will tell you if it's even worth looking more into. I was all excited about this one.
But the whole idea of dragons, I mean, I mentioned earlier that the legends of dragons have been in almost every single culture throughout the world. But here in America, there is there is not really a dragon legend, but the Native Americans here believe in something they call the Thunderbirds.
Right.
And so, we were talking about intrinsic fears, and I think that one of the reasons, in fact, I've known people who have just this horrible fear of birds. And I think it goes back
My mom did.
My
mom did.
Did she really? Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the reasons for that is because back in the days of the caveman, there were birds out there that were huge. We were still getting over that age where everything was big.
We still have big birds.
And we do. We still have huge, raptors. The eagles, we had a problem in Florida with this. Huge.
Turkey vultures.
Oh, turkey vultures. You had turkey vultures? Yeah. We had eagles and hawks. And they were notorious for coming down and swiping up puppies and kittens and everything else. And in fact, my neighbor had one come down and land on her head and took her wig away.
Good thing she had a wig on. Could have ripped her hair out.
Yeah. But anyway, so the Native Americans have these legends of the Thunderbirds, and it makes it kind of go back to the idea that possibly we have pterodactyls that are lingering on in the Southwest.
And they're being mistaken as dragons.
All right.
I have to agree that that's a big possibility.
I think it's a possibility. I don't see the probability, though. And the reason for that is because there is such a wide open space here in the Southwest where they have been seen, but I don't see that they would have many places to hide, because it's such open area. I mean, we've got a lot of mountains here, the mesas and that kind of thing, and they certainly have caves in them. But I don't know. I don't know that I believe in the pterodactyl theory all that much. I see the possibility. I just don't really see the problem.
Well, it's like, I always go back to that stupid fish that they found that they thought had been extinct for 10,000 years. If there's only a few around, it is possible that things are hiding.
Sure.
You never know. That's we always say question everything, and question everything, but question it with an open mind, because you never know what really does exist.
Sure,
Some of the
sure.
stuff that we find out is just amazing. I mean, to the fact of, how about we're sitting here right now talking to you and the world through a stupid little wavelength.
Yeah, yeah,
That's magic.
yeah, yeah.
If you had told us we'd be able to do that 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you would have thought we were crazy witches, and we'd be burned at the stake.
I remember when I was a kid, speaking of that sort of thing and about technology, I remember when I was a kid, I would read Dick Tracy. And you remember he had a communicator on his watch.
You mean an Apple smartwatch?
Exactly. But I remember back then going, wow, we'll never get to that technology.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are, how many years later, and relatively not too long afterward, and now we've got the Apple smartwatch, and you can do exactly that.
So who's to say that there's not a dragon out there, or a pterodactyl,
Entirely.
or a thunderbird?
I do want to point out that I think it's good to have a healthy amount of skepticism, but at the same time, you need to also have an open mind about things, to entertain the possibility that things could exist. You know, especially when it comes to cryptids. You know, I mean, because nobody really knows.
No.
Nobody really knows, and the only people who I think really know are the people who have had encounters with these things.
Kind of like aliens and Bigfoot.
Aliens, well, specifically like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. Now, they make these public reports about these things, and people go, whatever, you know, but they know what they saw. And a lot of these people know the difference, as I've mentioned before, between a bear and Bigfoot.
Well, we can go back to Jason's video of his UFO thing. He was a skeptic.
Yeah.
He, people for UFOs. And then he sees one and realizes, wait a minute.
Yeah, same thing happened to me with me. I never really believed in UFOs. I thought alien life existed, but I didn't think they would bother with us.
So I think there is a possibility of dragons, especially fire-breathing ones.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Hey, before we get into that real quick, I want to bring this up before I forget about this, because I know I will. We need your feet. I believe it's September 9th. We're having Anne-Marie Balog on the show, and she is a paranormal medium. And the last time she was on the show, she was a delight to talk to. And I asked her if she would come back on again, and she said absolutely. And I said, the next time you come back on, you got to do that thing that you do, because a lot of people read palms. They're into palmistry. She reads toes. And so I told her, I said, next time you're on, I want to get our viewers to send in pictures of their feet, so that you can do readings. And so that's what we're going to do on September 9th. She's going to be on the show, and it's going to be a live feed on YouTube. And she's going to be doing live readings of toes. And so what we need pictures of just the tops of your bare feet.
While you're standing up,
or even if you're sitting,
Flat-footed.
even if it's just as long as you're flat-footed and you're barefoot, and specifically she needs the pictures of your toes, not necessarily your whole foot. And she's going to do that, and so send that to us. You can either do that through our email address, and that is Black Lotus Podcast at gmail.com, or if you're a follower of ours on Facebook, you can just message it to us there.
Probably the easiest way, huh?
Yeah, and the page there is called Black Lotus Media Productions, and so just go there and while you're there, follow our page. But yeah, send us a little message with a picture of your toes, and that should be a fun show.
I'm looking forward to the show.
Man,
yeah, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell too, so you don't miss that show.
One other thing I want to mention is that how well this show is doing since we rebranded. Yeah. And I was mentioning to Ralph that we have a way we can look at the amount of views and the amount of likes and subscribers. And we are almost, just in the month and a half we've been going, or month and 3/4 we've been going, we've already had almost 1,500 views.
Wow.
Yeah, between all of our shows. And I think that is fantastic.
Yeah.
And
we're almost past the amount of subscribers too. I think we're going to have to do a giveaway or something here coming up soon. And
that's what I was about to say. Ralph is saying, once we hit 100 subscribers, we should do a giveaway. I want to do it before that, because I think we're going to hit that 1,500 mark before that happens. And what I want to do is I want to do a giveaway, and I'm thinking we'll do that through YouTube and Facebook together. And so we'll just kind of draw names for people.
So if you're subscribed or to either page,
yeah. So,
Or
so
maybe we should make it where they have to subscribe to both.
keep that in mind. And what we're going to do is probably give away T-shirts or coffee mugs or something or other. Something with our logo on it. And so, it'd be a fun little giveaway. But anyway, let's get back to this. You were talking about the
Fire breather dragon.
fire breathing bug.
Well, there's a bug because everybody's like there's no way there could be a fire breathing dragon. Okay, and one of the reasons why they don't know if there could be a fire breathing dragon because anything that would be used to make fire in a dragon would be like soft celled and it would disintegrate. It wouldn't be a bone, so there would be nothing left to actually show it. So they don't really know. Excuse me, but there is a beetle out there called the bombardier beetle. And it's just a little beetle. It's most of them are orange. There's different varieties of them, but most of them are little black and orange ones. Kind of look like a lightning bug, if you know what a lightning bug looks like.
Okay. Yeah. Ugly little bastards.
Ugly little bastards. Yeah, there's this little head and body with little wings, and they have their little body. And at the end of the body, there's a little, it looks like a stinger, but it's not. What it does is it actually has the ability to squirt fire-burning liquids out of that.
Really?
Fire-burning liquids, okay? I saw a video of this thing, and there's this ant. It crawls up on top of it, and the little back butt turns towards the ant. I mean, literally aims at it, and it goes, psh, and the smoke comes out, and the fan goes, psh, and falls off the bug.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, okay, so yes, there can be fire-breathing dragons if there are dragons.
Weird.
Weird is right. That's what the show's about.
It is indeed. Weird and unusual, But anyway, let's wrap it up for the day. What do you say?
Sounds good.
So we will be back again on Sunday. And I think we're talking about the Mandela effect.
Mandela
again, aren't we?
effect, correct.
Yeah, unless that's actually Mandela effect and we didn't realize. Could be.
I thought we did.
Yeah. So don't forget to drop a comment below and let us know if you've ever seen anything weird. I'll have a link in the description where if you want to be on the show, just click on that link and go to this little 4 questionnaire thing and submit it to us, and we will definitely get you on the show. We're looking for people that have experienced anything weird or unusual, everything from paranormal stuff to cryptid sightings to UFOs, aliens, what have you, and so, or even if you just saw something weird and unusual, we love that stuff. So definitely get in touch with us, and also don't forget to visit our merch shop, and that's I'll leave a link to that too. And but anyway, until next time, keep thinking and question everything. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click that little bell so you can get a reminder every time we upload a new episode.